Reagan and the New Right rose to power because of the increasingly conservative nature of American society. Reagan achieved fantastic popularity due to his background as an actor and thus won the presidency. The Reagan Revolution in economics was made up of two parts. First, about $35 billion in budget cuts, and second, major tax cuts. Immediately, this Reaganomics plan took the nation on a downhill ride of increasing unemployment and the worst recession since the 1930s. In the long run, a better economy was achieved by 1983. However, this stronger economy was courted by an increasing gap between the rich and poor of America. Reagan's relentless badgering of the Cold War issue brought about its reemergence during his first term. Due to the power that the U.S. had gained over the Soviet Union by the time of his re-election, Reagan was willing to negotiate with Gorbachev. America became involved in Central American troubles in order to stop the formation of communist governments. In the Middle East, American involvement stemmed from the conflicts between its ally Israel and various Palestinian groups. The Iran-Contra affair was a series of actions by the Reagan administration to try and aid a minority political group without notifying Congress. The U.S. government sold weapons to Iran and then turned around and used that money to supply Nicaraguan rebels with weapons to overthrow their communist government. In tandem with growing political conservativeness, American society in general was becoming more conservative due to the increased prevalence of the religious right. This prevalence can be seen clearly in the debate over abortion rights for women, as in the case Roe v. Wade. The end of the Cold War was brought about by the growing distaste for communism within communist countries. Most of Eastern Europe deposed communist rule, and the USSR was brought to its knees by its own reform movements. The world now had a few issues to consider, namely who would take control and honor Soviet agreements with the United States. This uncertainty unleashed a wave of ethnic cleansing in Eastern Europe. In the United States, nagging questions such as would the United States return to isolationism plagued society. In addition to this, the lack of an enemy meant that military buildup was no longer needed, and the economy was shaken to its core. Clinton's victory in the 1992 election was aided by his persuasive powers of energy and articulation, as well as by his focus on the economy. He attempted to navigate between traditional liberal democratic values and his centrist New Democrat policies by distancing himself with some of the old views of the party, such as anti-business policy. Causes of violence in 1990s America include some radical citizens feeling alienated by the government, such as with the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas, and the Oklahoma City bombing, as well as disillusionment with the government after Nixon's resignation and the conclusion of the Vietnam War. Consequences include tighter gun control as a result of the attempted assassination of Reagan and the shootings at Columbine High School. Clinton's economic policies included the deficit reduction bill, which combined with the booming economies of the 1990s to nearly eliminate a deficit in the United States. Worldwide, this economic boom was largely resented and led to conflict in the succeeding years. The Clinton administration intervened in the Balkans by committing U.S. troops to a NATO peacekeeping initiative in 1996. In 1999, the U.S. would lead a NATO-led war on Serbia in the air in order to stop the ethnic cleansing policies of the Serbian president from further terrorizing citizens. However, Clinton was unable to establish peace in the Middle East due to the assassination of the Israeli prime minister and the death of the Palestinian leader with whom he was working. The presidential election of 2000 between Bush and Gore was close and controversial. In the crucial state of Florida, the vote was so close that a recount was required. When the recount revealed an extremely small margin in favor for Bush, the Gore campaign suggested that it was possible that the polling machines were faulty. The Republican camp tried to strike down the call for another recount, but was unsuccessful. Eventually, the Supreme Court ruled that the recounting of votes in Florida violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, and Bush won the presidency. The September 11th terrorist attacks affected American society by instilling fear in many, which resulted in a severe decline in air travel and the near extinction of the tourist industry. The war in Iraq came about because of the belief of President Bush that the country presented a threat to American security, specifically in regards to the possible harboring of weapons of mass destruction.